Welcome everybody to Bitcoin Live on the Saturday. And today is the day. Finally, after 4 times, we managed to put it together, the interview with Zero and HODLstacks. And we're going to talk about 040 DAO, of course. We're going to talk about Trajan app, amazing stuff that you guys have built. But before we dive into all that stuff, we need to have your origin stories. How did you guys get into crypto? What was your big background before you got into crypto? And how did you found Stacks and build 040 DAO? What is the story?
Nick, thank you for having us on. And we love Bitcoin Live. We've been huge supporters for the last several years. So anytime you invite us, we find it as an honor and a privilege to come here. So thank you so much, man. And you've been grinding away for years, and people don't know, but you are behind the scenes, and a lot of shows that run are on your technology and use a platform. And so huge shout out to Deorganized. They are one of our key partners. We love them. What Peace has built with everyone over there, Peace and GP and Mel, BTC, Good Kitty, and Hattie. We love all of them too, and they continue to bring different people on. I know 300 is now on the show, and that was cool that we were all able to pitch in and get the Starlink, and so he can join the shows, and he's just such a big part of the ecosystem. We have so many people like that are a big part of the ecosystems. That's why we love Stacks. So for me, I learned about Bitcoin early. In college, I came out, both HODLstacks and we are, I'll say systems people, computer information. I did that in my background, and coming out, I still remember, and I kick myself every day, Nick, around how I discovered, because I remember the whole congressional hearing when the guy held up the Bitcoin sign and it said buy Bitcoin. I think, I don't remember, but someone famous, I think, bought that piece of paper. I want to say either it was Michael Saylor or it was one of the guys who used to be in the Trump administration who runs a hedge fund. But anyways, I saw that, still didn't realize what it was, came out of college, and then I remember the whole Bitcoin pizza story, and was like, this guy spent 10,000 Bitcoin on some Domino's delivery. And so at the same time, I was back in college when we used to call it frag nights, and we used to just get together and have like LAN parties where we play WoW or different games. StarCraft was my game of choice. And still I just thought it was like these virtual points. I didn't think anything more about it. And then I heard Pizza Day, totally didn't think anything about it. During the 2016 election, I was looking at some like clips of CNBC, and then they were talking about Bitcoin Pizza Day, and they were like, this guy's crazy. He spent 10,000 Bitcoin. That stuff is now worth millions of dollars. That's what picked up my interest, because I was thinking, how could this fake digital currency be worth millions of dollars now? So then 2017 bull run, I bought and sold and traded, because at the time Coinbase only had, I think, 5. They only had Bitcoin, ETH, and I want to say Bitcoin Cash. By the way, I checked CoinGecko. Bitcoin Cash is still a top 20. Who the hell is buying this thing? That's crazy. I don't know who the hell is buying this.
Roger Ver, I think.
Yeah, Roger Ver. just buy Bitcoin. Don't buy Bitcoin Cash. But
how about Satoshi Vision?
So they only had 5 coins at the time, and then that's when I learned about Ethereum, and I was buying, selling. That's, everyone, their first journey into crypto is trading, and I just thought I was a genius. I was just making more money trading than I ever had, and I was like, oh man, I'm so smart. Then during the 2018 bear market, I was like, oh man, this thing has wrecked my entire portfolio. I only made a couple thousand, nothing to brag about at all. Yeah, I watched my portfolio go all the way up, and it came all the way down. But history isn't a teacher for me, because I made the same mistake in 21. Now, granted, I locked in profits, but I still made the same.
It was the double top that was very sneaky.
The double top was sneaky, and that's kind of that back in 21. That's kind of when crypto really started to evolve in my mind because we had the whole NFT thing. Then this cycle has been even more crazy with just meme stocks and meme trades everywhere. So where I learned about stacks, I learned about Ethereum, and I was thinking, okay, smart contracts are going to be the future because I was working at a bank at the time and I had co-authored this white paper and I told them to buy some Bitcoin. And at the time, everyone thought it was a scam. And then the bank thought I was really out
But
of
they
my.
still do, right?
I bet you sometimes whoever is still there will pick up that white paper and be like, man, that guy Zero is onto something. Now, granted, they probably think I'm a Bitcoin millionaire sitting on the beach, and I didn't get enough myself too, so I'm disappointed. So that's how I learned about stacks because I thought, okay, if you could, then that was always the thesis. If you could bring smart contracts to Bitcoin, what value will you unlock? And at the time, too, you have to remember in 2017, if you think these meme coins are crazy, back then there was only a couple of coins. So, dude, that's why EOS raised. I think they probably still have the biggest balance of Bitcoin. I think they still like have over 100,000 Bitcoin because one, there weren't a bunch of coins or meme coins that you could buy, and two, everyone was just the way you had to join an ICO. You'd have to send them the coins, and you just sent it to their wallet, and then at some point they would send it back to you. So I learned about stacks at the time. It was called Blockstack, and they did the whole registration. That was like the only verified one that actually like went through like a proper platform, and you sent them the money. Now I sometimes I tell Hodl, oh, what's up, Hattie? GM brother. Sometimes I tell Hodl because I had swapped my ETH for stacks. And sometimes I just wish I would have just hodled that ETH because I'm sure it's pretty valuable. But you know, we all make different choices and trade-offs, and it all equals out in the end. So that's kind of how I found stacks, and it's just been a really cool ecosystem to be a part of.
Yeah.
And you hodl stacks?
My story, yeah, I always tell Zero, it's like I didn't necessarily understand the solution that Bitcoin was solving early on, but there was a couple of these computer guys I knew from high school and college, and they mentioned it. And of course, you had people trying to, the concept of using it to buy fake IDs or something like that. And I was just talking to my buddy that we were thinking about getting fake IDs. And we're like, let's go to college first and see if we even need them. And I was telling him, I was like, man, I kicked myself because I would have gotten some extra Bitcoin if that, back when that's what people were using it for. I would have held some, but I never did that. And then really found out about it in 2016, 2017. And I wasn't a huge computer guy back then, and I just figured, I can just mine this stuff. And so I downloaded some miner on my computer. And of course, my computer was crap, and I couldn't mine any of the good coins. So that computer still has probably some like just awful coins from 2016 on it. But I let the thing run the whole summer, and instead of me getting a huge bag of Ethereum, I got like nonsense. So I didn't know exactly what I was doing. But I finally bought Bitcoin and Ethereum around 2017, and that was like the whole bull market. And I kind of understood after that. I was like, okay, it's going to settle down, and then it'll pick back up. And it was really around 2020 where I was like, okay, we definitely need this stuff. I fully went into why Bitcoin was kind of necessary to the world, and kind of did an education process figuring out, what really can you do with Ethereum and all of that. It seemed kind of pie in the sky in 2017 for me. But by 2020, I got it pretty good. And yeah, I've been a Bitcoin guy ever since. And then Stacks mainnet came on, and I said, man, this is great. The one drawback to Bitcoin is not having the programmability, what Ethereum offers and everything. And it just was really, really interesting. I dove head first in. I said, look, that's when I made my Twitter account, made this whole profile, and I was like, I'm gonna spend a bunch of time here and see what kind of impact I can do. You kind of finally feel early, and it's people that you vibe with, Bitcoin people that have the same values, and yeah, that was kind of my long story short is that's the story of Bitcoin and stacks to me. And yeah, just it's home now. That's kind of how I view it. Is it's
Yeah, because it's also very much community driven, right? I mean, that's one of the nice things about this whole ecosystem. It's how community driven it is, and I think one of the things that I really like about Stacks is its community. And sort of you mentioned Steve, of course, of the organizer, Steve the Machine, as I call him. Like
The machine.
amount of shells that he produces is insane. But I think sort of community is what it's all about. And you got a few of these blockchains and working projects. Stacks is definitely one of them. And, it's sort of driven by its community. And what you guys have built is, I think, something that actually sort of emphasizes and reinforces that sense of community and decentralizes it. And what I sometimes mention to other blockchains, I'm also a big fan of Decred, for example, and Digibyte, and there's some others, Monero. But I think what sets Stacks apart is sort of the community infrastructure that it's behind it, and sort of the knowledge and the know-how. It's not only the brains, like people like you guys, but also sort of the sense that you need a certain amount of hierarchy and sort of systems and facilities to build in order to really get the most out of your community, right? For the community to organize around.
Nick, I also have to tell the funny story of how Huddle Stacks and I had met. So back in 21, around the mainnet time, I had done the Bitcoin pizza launch.
Oh, yeah. The NFTs, right?
Yeah, the NFTs.
Yeah.
And so back then, Jamil, the founder, was still around for, it used to be called stxnft.com, and now it's Gamma. And he helped me launch the collection. And I mean, back then, to launch the collection, you had, I forget the name of the GitHub site, but this guy was showing people how do you use the code, then spin up Visual Basic or Visual Studio. Then you got to load all the code and get the layers done. So like I literally was scrambling because Jamil was like, hey, there's going to be another guy launching a pizza collection too. So you better get it. You better get all the JSON files to me and the metadata uploaded. And because he's going to launch soon. And if he launches that, he's probably going to sell it before you because there's no pizza collection. At the same time, there was some Anon running this NFT calendar site. And so I had reached out to this guy and I was like, hey, I'm launching a pizza collection. Can you put my site on? And this guy, he was well into this already. So we already kind of had the mega, I think it was right before Megapont or right after. So the big collection kind of already been out. And he was like, well, there's a bunch of like scammers now. And I'm like, dude, are you calling me a scammer? And so the guy never put my thing on the site because I think he got kind of busy and then went on to something else. And then I kind of ran into Hodl Stacks and I was like, hey man, I saw you put out a tweet about something. I got this idea for something else. I don't know what it's going to be called, but I think you and I should partner up. And he was like, dude, guess who it is? And I was like, I see your name is Hodl Stacks, but I don't know. Who are you? He's like, oh, I was running that NFT site. And I was like, dude, it was you the whole time. You didn't have that collection.
Yeah, I started it because it was like.
But to your credit, though, you stood firm on for what you believe. You're like, nah, there's too many scammers now. The Zero guy might be a scammer.
I started it because I missed, there was like the second collection and it just dropped out of thin air and I missed it. And I'm like, man, I am on Twitter every single day. This is like a part-time job for me and I'm still missing the damn collections. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to create the calendar site for myself. So then I know when the hell this stuff is going to launch because the chain wasn't super optimized. It was a pain to actually mint. And I was like, I'm not missing another one of these. And so, things were going well. And then I started to see, I was like, man, there's way more collections dropping than there are people around here. And that's when I was like, yo, Zero, like, even if I don't, like, And that's when I kind of cooled off, and I was like, yeah, this is the end of this. I can already feel it.
Yeah. I was the straw that broke the camel's back there. Like, no more. We just got way too much supply here. I'm like, dude, I'm just one guy with this little collection. And also, it was representative of Bitcoin Pizza Day, and we're on the Bitcoin L2, and Huddle would not list my thing on his site.
I just stopped doing it for everybody. I was like, yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
But things can quickly change in crypto, right? I mean, we saw it yesterday. One day we're celebrating under 25K, and then next day we're at, where are we?
What, 112?
Yeah, 111-ish.
But also crypto Twitter is so funny because I hear it all the time. People are like, oh, I can't wait for the price to dip. I'm going to buy so much. And then you get red days like this and like, oh, dear Bitcoin gods, can the price go back up? And I'm like, dude, this is where you buy it on the red days. You buy on the red days, you sell a little bit on the green days, and you repeat. You literally have to do the opposite of what your mind is telling you to do.
It's very difficult.
And people too own more Bitcoin than other stuff. Come on now. Like, all these other coins, get yourself a good position in Bitcoin. It's
kind of funny, right? I mean, I often talk with people at work and family and friends, and then they want to know about crypto, at least some do, but then they don't want to know that when you tell them to buy some Bitcoin, that's the stuff that they don't want to know, right? They skip that part. Tell me the next Bitcoin, right?
It's kind of interesting you say that, because a lot of us still say we're still early. And if you look at the price of Bitcoin, you're like, well, how the hell are we early? Look at the price of it. But if you just walk around and you ask people, I'll say 8 out of 10, they don't even know what Bitcoin is. And then that one person may have heard of it, but they don't own anything. And there may be one person who actually has it. So, hey, let's go, Tenderly. Let's go. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Stacks Connect.
But true, very few.
We're really still early. And I was just talking to my neighbor recently. He was like, well, how high do you think Bitcoin is going to go? And so I said, well, when do you think they're going to stop printing more money? And he said, well, what do you mean? Well, Bitcoin
printing money.
Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom, right? So when you start thinking of it like that, that's why, like, now any SBTC that I earn, any Bitcoin or any CB BTC or Lombard BTC, I don't sell it. I don't sell it at all. Hey, what's up, crypto dude? Stacks Connect.
I think all of us, when you sort of go into the rabbit hole with Bitcoin and crypto, but especially Bitcoin, it teaches you not only about, the technical side, what Bitcoin is, when you read the white paper, but it also teaches you what is money, right? And what is wrong with the current financial system. And so many people don't know about Bitcoin, but sadly, they also don't know anything about money, really, and they also don't know anything that's wrong with the current system. They sort of, they have this gut feeling that there's something not right, and things don't add up, but they don't exactly know what it is, and they are asking for the wrong solutions, right? More government intervention, more money printing, save us, etc.
I saw this recent clip of I think he was either a Harvard or Cambridge professor, not sure, but he's been a professor of finance for 40 years. And he said he didn't understand what debasement was until he started to study Bitcoin. And I hear so many stories. I'm in that camp too. I didn't know what money and what the value of money meant until I started reading about Bitcoin. And there's so many stories like that. It's incredible when you think about it.
Yeah. And sad, very sad also.
It's something I remind people of a lot. It's like, look at all the technological progress, yet the material aspects of people's lives is not as improved as the technology, as the medicine, as anything else. It's, I think people inherently get that feeling where they're like, there's a disconnect. How come, the society we live in and everything else isn't as improved as, a computer chip has improved? It's pretty crazy, but that's the basement, that's, and yeah, I think I was telling Nick backstage, I was like, yeah, it's important. Yeah. I think Bitcoiners don't evangelize Bitcoin as much as they used to. It's important to get a lot of people with some Bitcoin in their pockets. And I think, if you want to have kind of a smooth transition, if you do think Bitcoin's going to do what I think we think it's going to do, it's important to have a nice wide distribution of people having this in their pockets and storing it and using it. It's one of the reasons why, Zero Authority is the way it is I want people, everybody has something to offer work-wise. Everybody has skills. Everybody has unique capabilities. Have them do the work, get some Bitcoin in their pocket, show their skills, grow themselves, become, who they can be.
I think it was this guy, right?
Yeah, that's him right there.
Shall we listen to him? It's kind of interesting.
Absolutely, if we can, that'd be great.
Cool.
It's almost as if you've been plugged into the matrix. You can be teaching finance and still on the blue pill, and then one day you wake up and you realize, wait, everything that I've been teaching. By the way, it's important to see that the construct of finance on top of the foundations of it is incredibly intricate. So in fact, you can even be a high priest, if you will, of finance, where you're teaching acolytes of finance, all the mechanics of how to manage finance and how to manage it, but all based upon the foundation of a stable fiat system without pausing and asking, is the fiat system stable? And it's almost as if, imagine, building a foundation, a magnificent building, if you will, or edifice, if you will, without asking, well, what's the quality of the sand or the granite, or what have we built it on? And so, again, Crypto Twitter had some fun with me. How could this finance professor, be teaching this without realizing that? And maybe I'm an outlier. But you know what? What's really interesting to me is how few people who are extraordinarily gifted financiers and extraordinarily gifted in finance on Wall Street and TradFi don't pause to look at the foundation of the fiat system. And by the way, and to people who have had the red pill or the orange pill, whichever color you want, but not blue, to people who've had that pill, they see it and they can't unsee it. But if you haven't had that pill, if you haven't had somebody orange pill you or red pill you, whichever metaphor you want to use, we'll use orange pill. It's really hard to see. And you look at that and you say, how can a piece of code be worth anything? It's just a piece of code. There's nothing behind it. There's nothing that backs it. It's just a piece of code. Why is it worth $85,070 or whatever it was to? I don't know what it was today. It was like 85.
Well, you can hear it's a while ago. 85.
You almost had me check the price right now. No.
Nick, you need to play the Coinbase commercial. I think that's also amazing. Let me drop it in the chat here.
Cool.
Pull this up really quick.
Yeah, and I'll repost this one for the people who want to listen to it. And
GM to everyone watching, thanks so much for tuning in. We are so bullish on the Saks community, on the Bitcoin L2 community, and it's just incredible to be a part of this community together. Let's go. But so to give some background and context, I think this is a really great commercial. I send this to people because it's a 30-second clip, but it explains why Bitcoin has value because of the scarcity. And this really paints the picture, and it helps you visualize why Bitcoin matters so much. Go ahead and play that.
Yep, here we go.
If a Bitcoin was the size of a quarter, all 21 million of them would fit inside a single shipping container. But to fit the dollars the Fed prints on average every day, you'd need 72 shipping containers. Each year, you'd need 26,280 containers. And to fit what they've printed in the last decade, well, you'd need a lot more than that.
This is so powerful because one, it's just a quick 30-second clip, but then it gets you thinking like how much money is really out there. And this is why
and actually, you know, money is not even the right word, right? Because you know, it's more like credit. Because
it's all numbers on a ledger somewhere.
A bad ledger.
The actual money in circulation, I think, is less than 1%.
Yeah.
If even that's a high. That would be high too. But anyways, that commercial, it also paints the picture. Like, even if you don't believe in Bitcoin and the value of it, that can easily just keep you up at night and say, you know, maybe I should just own a little bit of it, and just in case
it catches on,
or just in case I need to preserve the value, right, of this $10, this $100, whatever money you have.
Yeah, and I forgot who it was, but one of those early maxis, I think it was a Chinese guy. I forgot his name, but he sort of had that sort of transition that new money sort of starts off as a collectible, then it becomes a store of value. As more and more people start collecting it and appreciating its value, then it becomes a medium of exchange. And eventually, if it really catches on, it becomes a unit of account. So now we're now in the store of value, which is basically Gresham's law, right? You know, you save
hold on to the most valuable assets.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons we created Zero Authority, so people could earn Bitcoin, right?
And I was sort of leading up to that. So, you know, I'll give you my definition of what you've built. So sort of I was saying, like, you know, what sets Stacks community apart from being at a layer 2 on Bitcoin. And, you know, Bitcoin can definitely use a layer 2 for smart contracts. But I think the Stacks community as a community is set apart from other communities in the way that you organize yourself and the infrastructure that you've built around it. And I think, you know, at the heart of that infrastructure is you guys with Zero Authority DAO. So I came up with this definition of what, you know, I think, you know, to make a layperson who's not familiar with crypto understand what you guys have built. So I would say it is like a decentralized and privatized on-chain LinkedIn, but I would be selling it short if I, you know, described it like that, because I think it's way more than a privatized and decentralized LinkedIn, right?
No, I don't think you're selling it short. Look, we really went, especially this year, we went back to just plain English. Speak in plain English. What is this thing? Recently, because we're in where our platform is kind of at the heart of the decentralized grants, D Grants 3. And so someone was telling me, hey, I have this idea for this thing. It's a decentralized computing network, decentralized storage, DeFi, D-Science play. And I told the guy, run it through ChatGPT and just put it in plain English. Oh, it's a game that has some mechanisms that can be interesting and increase the token value, right? But a lot of us in Web3 overcomplicate what we're doing. And literally, I love how you explained it, because it's how I tell people, how I explain Zero Authority. It's a decentralized LinkedIn that meets Fiverr or Upwork for jobs and for opportunities. And you also have a profile where you can continue to build that experience that gives you more credibility, that builds this reputation. And that reputation is fully ownable because it's in your wallet, and your wallet becomes your resume. And that's literally what it is. It's not this fancy, complex thing. Now, do we use fancy smart contracts behind the scenes? Yes, we do. Have we built this middleware layer between the smart contracts and between our infrastructure? We have. We built a lot of complexity. But at its heart, what it is people want opportunities, and they could either find it through gigs by working peer-to-peer, or they can find it when a project or a company or an individual puts out a bounty because they either want some marketing services, they want people to create some memes, and you can get rewarded. So no more of this, trust me, bro, I'm going to pay you. The smart contract holds the funds, and you know if it's there or not, because you can't create a bounty without those funds being there. and all they have to do is release those funds to the winners. Now you can debate on, did this person meet the criteria? Did that one? We're going to make the system better over time with AI, but we've Huddle Stacks and I always felt there's so much people that have so many skill sets, and they're helping projects all the time. We see it all the time in Discord, in Telegram, on X, and there's just like no way to even see how they've helped someone.
Yeah, no, definitely, right? I mean, and most people working in Web3, it's my experience, most of them are working for very low fees or basically for free, right? So it would be nice to have a place where everybody can go and can be trusted to be sort of an immutable record of that, of those efforts of those people, and that they be recorded, and that you can actually leverage that in order to get perhaps a paying job at some point in Web3.
Yeah, that's right. And it's it's a place where you can be pseudonymous if you want to. You can have parts of your personality or skill set shine through, and then it's this nice idea too that your actions hold weight over time. You do these various things that builds up to your profile. Your profile becomes more complex, more interesting, and you're able to take that and earn more and more opportunities. So as Zero Authority grows and we get more people on there doing interesting things, the marketplace just becomes more complex and it becomes more interesting in what you're able to do. And I tell Zero, it's like the early days of launching a YouTube. It's the early days of any of that. It's you go out there, you put yourself out there, you do interesting things, and I think what makes me happy at some point is if this helps people align their work with what they're passionate and interested about the most, and if that alignment, we can make that better over time, man, that's a really, really solid life for people.
No, I think that you guys created something really amazing, and I think it deserves like a wide recognition also beyond the Stacks ecosystem. But like I said before going live, I think builders like you guys, I mean, mostly the attention is on influencers, right? And they do also important work. It's not like they're
right.
But the builders behind the scenes who create these useful and very powerful products, they often don't get the limelight that they deserve for building these very intricate and very powerful technologies that we're probably all going to use at some point. So that's actually why I wanted to be the first people on this sort of new interview series that I'm going to do.
That's really cool. By the way, just giving us a shout out. We started building this in 2021. So if you think Zero Authority is an overnight success, let me tell you that there were so many days and months that we never wanted to quit, because we always thought what we're building is needed at some point in the future. We just never knew what that point would be. And so many people said, well, you guys should raise money and take money. And we've ran ideas past VCs or past accelerators and didn't get in. And they said, the reputation fee, I don't even know what it is, and I don't even think it'll ever be a market. So it's just so cool that what you said today, you've never told me this. We chat a lot over Twitter, and you never gave me a shout out, Nick. So just to hear it on the live stream, you've been reserving this space just to tell us that means a lot to both of us. And all those nights and weekends, I have 2 kids and a wife, and we have aging parents, and Huddle Stacks and I deal with that on with our parents and things like that. And so just to get to this point where companies come to zeroauthoritydao.com and they just naturally can create gigs and do bounties without us having to beg anyone to do that. Years ago, we had to beg people to do things or to work with us, and now it's just so amazing that people invite us. People want to invite us to a space or to a live stream, or they want to learn more about the site and what is reputation fi and how do these products work on the site. But I'm just so thankful that you gave us that shout out, because we don't do this for the glory or the accolades. We literally just grind every night, all weekend, just because we love to create solutions and solve problems. And we're engineers by trade, and kind of like we have like that engineering mindset. So the first version of what we created, it was a pile of horse shit. And I call it the Mexican food.
Same year. My first interviews were also piles of horseshit.
No,
I told
Nick,
Zero-
the
I said,
V1 platform, a hodl, that was the Mexican pinata. It had some funky colors everywhere.
I told Zero, I said, hey, look, Curve looks like Windows 95. It still works. So like,
That's true. That is true. So just to see people naturally coming, and this is where we feel like we're so ingrained with this community. And I'll give you a couple examples. When we had launch gigs, I really wanted to have this mechanism where people could work trustlessly. Whether you have a real ID, whether you have a pseudonymous ID, you could work together, and you don't have to fully trust the person. The funds are there in the smart contract. If you feel like they fulfill the work, release it 100%. If you think they did partial work, release it 75, 50%, right? I've heard so many stories, and I just heard one story where someone paid someone 100% up front to do some work, and they didn't deliver anything, didn't know who the person was. There was no recourse, right? And then along the way, Hodl Stacks kept seeing things on Twitter about bounties, and he came up with this really cool idea. What if we had this mechanism where anyone could post an opportunity to join? And that just kicked off this whole renaissance of creativity on chain. And then let's go, Peace Love. That's my guy. I love Peace Love. He was one of the first ones to ever do a gig. He actually created a theme song for us. We couldn't use it because at the time I like the Tron theme music. I used to use that for some of our live streams. He created something like that for us, but then YouTube flagged it as a violation. But
No,
we never got to use it.
Well, actually, YouTube is a much relaxer these days than it used to be.
That's good. Horrible. Well, also too, you got to imagine if I'm this movie or this theme show and people give me an attribution in their description to use it. Let's go. Hey, we got to play the song for Diego. Diego is absolutely my guy. I love Diego so much. But what I was saying though, Nick, is that we just been toiling away in the basement for years. And then we met Rocky at Red Blocks, and his vision for the platform really brought it to life. We always had all of these ideas. Huddle and I are really good we work with our team, whether it's Haj, Shashil, Gizlo, we work and we all kind of have this engineering mindset, but Rocky and Red Block, they were able to paint this beautiful story of what we wanted to do on the platform. Then along the way, Jack said, you know what would be cool? What if we could add bounties as a reward? And so we coded it up and it works. And we're just a community platform. That's what we are, on-chain coordination layer. That's really what it is.
Well, that sort of ties into my earlier point, right? Because you want to leverage the power of your community, because there's a lot of big brains in a lot of different communities. But in order to sort of get them all together and get them coordinated and working towards something, you need that infrastructure, right? And I think that's the power of what you guys build, is that you can actually leverage the brain power that is there and organize it and bring it to a higher level, right? So, and then the question is, of course, you build it on stacks, and I love stacks. I actually also hold a bag of stacks, but is it also interoperable? Can other chains also use what you've built?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because let me just share my screen here, and let's see. I'm going to share my screen, and okay, you want to pull it on screen. So if this is your first time seeing the site, this is zeroauthoritydao.com. We completely, for a long time, we had this running meme that was a joke because we kept saying V2's coming. we underestimated how hard and difficult it is to rebuild our entire infrastructure. We rebuilt the Clarity code. We rebuilt the middleware to talk to the new interface. The way we had done it on V1, we put everything in the smart contracts, the start dates, the end dates on gigs and bounties, and it didn't allow for this flexibility. We didn't allow the logic to be handled on the platform. So if somebody wanted to change the end date, there was no way to do that because it was all driven in the smart contract. And once you code it in the smart contract, that's code, and you can't change the code. What we did with V2 was a couple of more flexible options to make it more robust. So instead of like start date, end date in the contract, we took that out and let the platform logic handle it. So if someone wants to change the start date, end dates, also another upgrade we had is that we allowed flexibility with the profiles. So where we're going with the profiles over time, we have this pending work too that we want to do is called universal profiles. Anytime you update your profile, it's going to be owned by your wallet, and with that ownership, you can say this is my profile and this is the data level of attributes that I want to share across the chain. So anytime you connect a wallet, so let me just connect my wallet here, and you probably notice some new options here, and it whichever option you want to take, you have some options here, and so this may be the first time that you're witnessing. Obviously, Xverse, we love Xverse, we love leather, and then there's a new option down here at the bottom. So anytime that you want to come in and have multiple options, you have that choice now. And then I'm going to connect my wallet on leather, and let's give a quick walkthrough here. So we also added this nice onboarding for people. I think we want to upgrade the onboarding to add more information and give people some more actionable things. We have something in the backlog. Hopefully we can get to it soon. And then it drops you off in the creators. So now you're on the creators tab. And this is where you can see all the people. We have an upgrade coming too for the profiles and how you view the cards. There's a lot of creative ways what we can integrate with AI. And then when you're chatting with AI, you can see the people who have the skill sets. You can identify people who've delivered on projects. Something that I really love is this new feature that we launched. So I'm going to go to view Target, his profile right now. And we know Target because we've seen him on different bounties. We've seen him in X. Something that's really cool now that you can do is we call it a retroactive gig. If you've ever done any past work or any work with anyone, and there wasn't a way to verify that work, ask that person to come in, and let me go to next. So let's say, hey, we worked together. We did a meme project together, and whatever the description was, add that description there, and then say what was the service. We did something for Stacks Africa, and then ask them to just give you some. It could be, I don't know, something like 5 STX, and then how much is the price there. So we recently started including the price level data, and we pulled data from CoinGecko, and we're also pulling data from Dex Screener now that we have that fully operational. Maybe you did a specific project with Leo, and you would like to earn some Leo, right? 6,000 for that project. That's a little that's a little much, but maybe you did some incredible work with Leo, and you can see from Dex Screener, we're pulling that data. We have USD and then euros, and so hey, maybe you did such incredible work. We're going to pay you 50 million Leo, whatever that amount is. But now you have the option to reward these people for the work that they've done. And the retroactive gigs, there's no send a request, accept the request, market complete. This is a direct payment. So this direct payment, you can see it on your profile. So let me go back to someone who, let's see, Mel did some work recently, and I think this is her new profile. Yes. So she did some work recently, and we sent her a direct payment. This is how people, and this link is shareable, right? Anytime someone says, well, what did you do for someone? Well, you can go ahead and share this link right now and say, oh, this is what I did with these people. This is what I did for that company, right? This is the world we're going to. And the other cool thing that I wanted to show you, and I'll go back to Target here, Target 1 BTC. We could see all the bounties that people participate in and whether they won. And the other cool thing is, because they participate in bounties and gigs, they can mint the badges now, right? So people, we're working with Ryder right now, and they have this whole cool series that they had planned out for bounties. And with Ryder, you're able to go to their landing page, and if you participated in the bounty, you could mint the badge, right? So what Hodl Stacks and I wanted to do years ago is this concept of reputation badges. The problem with that is, one, we were on the old architecture. It was not flexible enough, and the data costs would go up exponentially. When we shifted over to the new infrastructure, it's more flexible, more modular. We can roll these things out faster. Look, Nick, look how beautiful that looks.
Yeah, actually, I also want to compliment you on your aesthetics and your artwork, because one of the cool things about 040 DAO is, the way that you present things and the way that it looks. I really like the style of the products that you make. So yeah, I love it.
And that's a kudos to Rocky.
Yeah,
Rocky is our guy.
Yeah.
Him and Christina and Aiden, we have, my wife, she will not let me touch any designs in the house. If you let me and Hodl design the room in the house, it's that classic crypto bro. There's like a beanbag chair to sleep and rest in, and then you got like your computer, right?
Yeah.
That's the engineering mindset, right?
Very utilitarian. Yeah.
Nick, you probably can appreciate this with where you live, just being engineering mindset and focus. Just look, give me the basics and get out of my way. But people love...
your whole room is black, right? Nothing there.
Very functional. Very
you can
functional.
see my artwork by my profile picture.
It's cool.
So they took all these concepts that we've had for years, and they created this masterpiece, and we're just so fortunate that we get to work with them. And so now that we've created that base layer of color schemes, design, it allows us to go faster. We didn't have that before. We didn't have like brand guides. We didn't know like how we wanted to have things modular. And the other thing too, what we've always wanted to do is create a way to abstract the chain, right? So you should know that all of these things are on chain, right? You can click on the link, and you could see that, okay, this is create bounty, that's happening on chain. I don't know how it's happening on chain, but it's happening on chain. When you select the winners, you can also click on that link, and that'll take you directly to the submissions were accepted, and these were the wallets that were rewarded the amount that you had posted in the smart contract, right? And there's a lot of things you can do with this in the sandbox that we haven't even scratched the surface on. But Nick, that's the thing that we're really good at, doing complex things and making it easy. And then with Red Block Lab, what they did was take all of the work that we were able to complete and create this beautiful experience, right? So one of the things I've always told people, I want you to know that these things are happening on chain, so you can click on a transaction and you could see the deliverables, right? And not only that, when you go to, so let's go back to Target's page, right? The other thing I want people to know is because this is a decentralized network that's built on top of Web3, these things should be completely trustless and permissionless, right? So when you click on this is how you know this is stored on IPFS, and this is the actual contract where we've created that you can see that this is where the badge was minted, and this is why your wallet owns this badge, because it's not, you don't have to trust Zero Authority. We've already done the hard work to show you that the system is permissionless and trustless. And we're getting to the point too where we can further obfuscate all of these things with what's coming in the next version, what we've seen like just in the industry and Web3 happening with all these smart wallets, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be the next layer of what we're going to be able to do. And it's just going to be incredible. And then you can see the left side of the panel. We have a number of things that we've been working on. Haas rebuilt the APIs. We see people now, like I'll give you a couple examples. Like sometimes Deorganized, they post the bounties, and all they do is they'll come to the bounties. They'll say, well, let me execute the command, and then they grab these commands, and then they'll go to Claude, and then in Claude they say, give me open bounties and rewards, right? It's not quite there yet. It's getting better with the data. We still got some enhancements to make, but dude, look how easy this is. That this was the dream all along, Nick, that anyone anywhere could use this data for the next level of data and info-fi and reputation-fi. And so we're getting to that point now where, see, it's this one was actually closed. So we just kind of have a little bit of data mismatch through the API, but regardless, anyone can come and take this data and spin it up in creative ways. You could even, and this is why we get so excited, right? We've created this structured data that never existed before, right? People were doing gigs, they were doing bounties, and there was no structure of that data. So no one could use that data in anything else, right? You can now come to your AI assistant and say, create a web page with open bounties and rewards. And this is why we think reputation-fi, and then we also use Lunar Crush. So huge shout out to Joe and Lunar Crush.
Yeah, they're cool.
With your AI companion and your agents and reputation-fi and Lunar Crush, what the next level of all this data and what you can do with it is, it's insane, Nick. I'm just so bullish on all of it. It's insane what you can do with this data. Sorry, I went off on a tangent today.
No, that's good. I mean, that's one of the things that people want to hear, that enthusiasm, right? And it's good to hear, the developer or the builder speak with such passion about the thing that they have created, right? It's sort of infectious. It infects other people, and they take notice.
Nick, I'll sometimes, like, it's late at night for me and with the kids and bath time. Look at this, Nick. Like, this will spin up. You can tell your AI companions, create a web page for me that does this or does that. You know, the other thing that's going to be really cool, you can view your rewards and use Zero Authority. And also, here, let me publish this really quick. I'm going to publish this. You can use Zero Authority and Lunar Crush to create new profile level data that you've never been able to before. And AI is evolving to the point where it is just completely amazing, right? So anyone can spin up these pages that displays this information in whatever meaningful ways you want to do it. It's insane. It really is insane. So the next level of this, what I was saying, Nick, is sometimes I'm just up late at night. Well, Huddle, he's just, oh yes, BoostX too. Thank you, Crypto Dude.
Very true.
We're also implementing BoostX, and BoostX is using our data to do other cool things. So let's say someone gives someone a boost and they do a space drop. If you're in a drop, we'll be able to read the smart contract through a chain hook, and we could display it on your profile page. We'll pass that through our API layer, and anyone who wants to spin up this kind of data, you could spin it up on a fly. Like, you can say who got boosted today and what profiles, what's their BNS name, what's their name on X, right? You can use this in so many ways. But so Nick, what I was going to say is sometimes I'm just up late at night and I'll say, Hado, I got this crazy idea. Can you go off and see if we can organize DNS records and some like data that I don't even know if we can get. And then he's a mad scientist, so I just let him go off, and he'll come back a couple days later and he's like, "Hey, Zero, were you thinking of it like this?" And I'll say, "Man, that is beautiful."
we cook. We do a lot of cooking. Not a lot of eating, but we do a lot of cooking.
Oh, that's what you're here for, right? So
yeah,
the product you have built is sort of, the applications are endless, basically, right?
Well,
yeah.
One example too, Zero, is like, say Boost. What we're not too far away from is say you do a Twitter space and you want to boost everybody in your Twitter space. Well, then you could say, I could use that piece of information that's on chain to then be a requirement to do a bounty in the future for me. So you have your super fans, which are on your spaces, which can then be used as a requirement to then do future things on the platform if you want.
Very nice.
And so there's a ton of data that comes available because it's on your wallet. It's within your profile. So
Nick, did you create a profile on here?
Sadly, I think I did, but I haven't used it in ages.
It's okay. Here, let me grab. So let me do this really quick. I'm going to show you. So what Hoddle's talking about is pretty cool. That we'll start to add more data here with Lunar Crush and our partnership with Lunar Crush with BoostX. We're going to start to fill out this profile even more, and I think we'll want to change it over time, because the whole reputation and on-chain score, we have another layer of data that we're going to come in and put together. So this still needs to be built out. But what I was going to say is something that is really cool is what you're able to do. And you know what? I don't know if it's going to work now that we did the new upgrades, Hoddle, because I was going to say you can grab a user by their STX address, but we changed it to the profile. We changed it to UUIDs.
I'm curious too.
I don't think that's going to work. I don't know. Will it work? Let me see. I don't think
we're doing some live testing here. This is good.
Yeah, we're doing some live testing. So let me share this. I'm going to share this now. Am I sharing my screen again?
Not yet.
Okay, let me share this.
If not, we'll get this going. If it doesn't work,
we'll just need to change it.
Yeah, Nick, once you get Zero sharing his screen, it's all bets off for.
No problem. Yeah. No.
Zero's over here. He's cooking
that. Oh yeah, it failed. Yeah. Let me try to grab. I'm gonna grab. Let me see. I'll just do.
So we're now seeing you in action.
Well, so you're seeing live action of how we end up testing things. I start trying to do things, and I tell Hoddle, we really need to make this work on the platform, and then he goes off and starts creating stuff with the whole team. So let me grab I'll grab this transaction. So I'm going to grab the transaction and call it by this wallet. So let me grab that wallet, and then let me go back to the API. So we need to add, Hoddle, I think we either need to add the wallet addresses on the profile page.
Yeah. It's information we have stored. It's not displayed now because we because of our
And-
movements with different chains, right? So it's
Yeah. So let me go back here. I think we can do it again. So let's try this. Create a web page. This is so cool that you could do this so fast now, right?
Yeah.
Before they talked about like how you would use AI capabilities, but now that you're seeing it with the structured data and what you can create it's just insane. It really is insane. For us to do this could probably take a week of planning and organizing just to like prototype, right? But now you can literally grab a couple APIs and data points and you just go so much faster. And so I'm just like really impressed, really, to be honest.
On that, where do you think we are on the exponential curve when it comes to technology?
Oh man, I'd say at some point we're gonna reach like a step function where it's like we will reach some kind of plateau. But I think we're very well along, like maybe 4 years away. Now I tell Zero all the time, I'm not too worried about AI stealing jobs or anything like that, just because people are still inherently lazy. So there's a ton of problems to solve for people because I don't think there's any there's no lower bound of people's laziness. So there will always be things to automate, to make better, to make people's lives easier. And there's going to be a ton of stuff that the average person just doesn't want to mess with. So the barrier to entry,
the comfort sphere, the comfort zone.
You know, and that's a great point. To be honest, I think we probably might be at that plateau right now, and we may need some further innovations in the energy space.
It's coming. Bitcoin.
yeah.
It is coming. I mean, they're talking about these small reactors that can be ran, outside of your home.
Yeah.
That's pretty. I think there was a breakthrough in nuclear fission as well, right? Yeah. So if you get endless energy, that literally will change the trajectory of humanity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's kind of fascinating that you're asking the question. I don't know why this is. I think our API fetch is broken with this changes that we made. But
for this part of it,
for the profile level. But it's just so cool to be able to use LunaCrush Zero Authority and create your own reputation profile or dashboard or whatever you want to create. I honestly, I thought this would be years away that we can do this with this level of data, but just seeing it just in action, I'm even thinking it'll be more interesting with your AI agents sooner than later. Now, I still think there's a couple years. We're still years away from how the agents, and we're also thinking about the whole agentic experience because we've designed it for humans in the modern UX. When you redesign it for agents, that's a completely different way to think about a platform and how you interact with the data. And when you interact with a chat interface, at some point Nova Chat will be fully operational and it'll work with your agents as well. Something else
give the audience like a 1 minute download on what Nova does right now.
Yeah. So right now you probably are hearing about Nova for the first time, right? And so if you want to know what Nova is, let me go back here and go back to let me go back and share this was back in On-Chain Summer. If you didn't mint your badge, make sure you mint a badge. And it's pretty easy to mint a badge. I think I already minted one. Did I mint one already?
By the way, can you tell me the story behind your logo, the bird? I love it's sort of like an origami bird.
Yeah. We were playing around with so we don't really talk about the story of we call it Veritas.
Yeah.
And so HODL has always said that we have verifiable truth on chain. And so the Latin word veritas is verifiable, right? Trust. And so to me, I also love hummingbirds. And so what it kind of birds in general represent freedom, freedom of choice, freedom of expression, freedom of who you want to be. And I think Web3 embodies that very well, right? In Web3, you can bridge your real ID, or you could be the pseudonymous ID, or you could be a combination of real with pseudonym. And so just having the Veritas logo represent this freedom to transact. Hattie also has this phrase where he says, trust, transact, and I can't remember the other T, but it was trust, transact. And so that's what the Veritas represents, this freedom to interact and build trustless and permissionless systems on chain.
But you also got sort of this whole samurai thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that tie into the sort of the aesthetic or the background of who you are?
So where the origami pieces fit in, it's kind of like the whole coming together of multiple parts of the ecosystem to build this Veritas bird, this hummingbird, and the sums of the pieces are equal to the whole.
Yeah.
And it all comes together and makes us better.
Yeah, I'd
Beautiful.
say too, it's like your actions, you know, your various actions and skill sets and everything. It makes, you know, for you to fully fly and do you and be able to be who you are, you're composed of a lot of different parts. And, you know, your resume on LinkedIn or whatever else, that doesn't really show exactly who you are. You know, your actions over time show who you are.
And early on,
yeah, we live where people
early on, HODL used to say too that, and we haven't really expressed this, but we probably should. But the things that you do in the Web2 space on LinkedIn, you tell people, I've generally know this type of information, or I generally know these things, because a company doesn't want you to say exactly what you've done, because it could breach either the non-disclosure agreement that you sign in general as an employment agreement. Especially if you've worked on sensitive things, you cannot tell people that I've worked on these sensitive things. We're going into this world where in Web3, I want to know exactly what you've done and exactly who you've worked with, because there's pseudonyms and there's people who are pseudonymous. And so I need to know, because it builds this layer of credibility, which builds this layer of trust. So how do we build trust in a trustless world? Well, I need to know who you've worked with, what are the things you've worked on, and who have you worked on it with, right? So that's kind of like, it's funny that we live in this world today where and this is why hiring people is so hard, because you can go to their resume, or you can go to LinkedIn and like, well, generally I know these kind of things, but you don't know if they know specifically on like risk management or cyber or how to develop and react. But you come into your profile on Zero Authority, and it's more, I want to actually know the specifics and the skill sets that you have. But so what Nova is doing, and what Nova stands for, and we don't really tell people, but it's the network of verified actions, right? So we think about your reputation as all these touch points that you have on chain and off chain. And because there's all these touch points, that goes into the reputation that you're building, right? So a person who's more active on chain, off chain, daily, weekly, is going to have a higher, and you know, conceptually should have a higher reputation or on chain score than someone who logs on to their wallet once a year and does something on chain once a month, right? And so that's kind of like the conceptual model behind what we're trying to build. Then what we were able to do with Nova, so Gizlo was building some bots, and we have been talking for years. He was looking for a team to join, and we were looking for AI bots to build out. We could have done it ourselves. He could also build a team, but it just made sense for us to come together. And the way I describe Zero Authority is we're a bunch of misfits who love Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Well, now we're not. I wouldn't describe us as like degens. We're just kind of misfits. Like, you know, we kind of march to our own beat of our own drum,
Yeah.
but we all work together really well because it's all decentralized and we're all over the globe too. So where it comes in really powerful is he started building out things that you can do within Telegram and Discord. And what we did was took that to the next level. We said, what if Nova became the AI bot and you're an AI assistant on Zero Authority, and it could start to give you recommendations, tell you people who to work with, and tell you what's the reputation score of these people? And then what if we could do that off chain? And what if we could see the things that you do off chain and be able to help you identify any areas of concern? So I'll give you an example. Any community can come here and set up bots. So we have the biggest organizations in Stacks, whether that's Stack and DAO, whether it's Zest, Alex, they use our bots to pull in price data, right? You can pull in price data. You can pull in, let me go to the setup guide. So if you wanted to pull in price data, NFT buys, address tracker. The other thing that we have is the warning. So anytime a malicious contract gets deployed, we give a warning and we could set that up. The other thing I use it for too, and what I've told people is an address tracker. So anyone, if you want to track your address, you can do that. So let me pull up an example here. Let me show you, for example. So I track my wallet. Let me see 1 second here. Let me go to Telegram.
And of course, one of the other nice use cases is if you're a person on the platform, you get notifications. Someone sends you a gig, or what's going on with your bounty, or maybe you want to know whether your bounty submission won. Stuff like that for sure.
Yeah. So if you personally just want to track a certain amount of wallets, so my zero xy0.btc, I track that and I see all the contract updates that I make. So if you wanted to do this, all you have to do is go to the bot, go to start, and then do the command and say track, and then turn notifications on and say which wallet you want to track. And Nick, you could do this today just for your wallet. Anyone can do this just for their personal wallets. So I'm always asking our team, can we do this? Can we do that? So one of the challenges I gave Gizlo, I said, can we make it so in the personal DMs, if I want to track just a couple of my wallets, I can do that. Or if I want to see things that's happening in the ecosystem, can I do that? So we started.
My title was right. Zero is pushing the limits. Zero limits.
I don't, to be honest, I think most of our team is a glutton for punishment. They love. I don't know why Hodl has stuck around for years with me. I'm just a mini tyrant going around barking orders. No, that's not who I am. But honestly, we just I'm sure you get tired of me certain weeks, Hodl.
No, I never tire.
It's crazy. We've only met each other one time. And we've just built this relationship. We're in a lot of ways we're almost the same kind of person. We just love to like push the boundaries of like, what can you do with this data on chain? What can you help people do? Right? So many people in the builder space, they focus on, man, this thing is really cool. I don't know how you're going to use it. We go from the complete opposite spectrum. It's like, I need to do this thing. I need this information to either make my life better or to improve the communities in which I work with, right? So even if you go into our Zero Authority chat, we have this endless stream of like bounties and gigs, and people say, why don't you push that to another channel? And it's like, well, no, I want you to know things are actually happening on the chain, actual things happening on the blockchain. This person made this transaction on chain. He submitted something to the chain, and you could see it right here. This is the bounty you could go and open it up right now today.
Yeah. And I think that's a powerful point, right? You want to bring it alive, because otherwise people are,
absolutely. We want to make these things living things that are happening on chain, and that was the whole premise of Nova, network of verified actions. These things are happening today. It's happening on chain. So it's so cool, because the other thing I was going to say is that with the Nova network, we serve about, with Telegram and Discord on a daily basis, we serve about 12,000 members.
Wow.
Across the entire network. And it's operating. It's never been down. And we're just pushing the boundaries on all this data right now.
I'm not going to,
and we're only on staff.
Like that,
and obviously you saw you could launch your base profile as well.
Interesting. Yeah, because I imagine that you keep sort of track of the statistics. So I guess you're seeing like a sort of sloping line in the activity on your platform.
We never share this, but I'll share this here on the stream, and just so you get an idea of like what's happening across the platform. I mean, this probably wouldn't show you everything because this is the new domain, but I can show you years ago when, we had this line of like nothing. Nobody was here, right?
Yep.
And then we finally had a redesign and we launched some new features, and then it's just up and to the right. So if you use the other domain with our new domain, the numbers are off the chart, and it really it's a testament to people want to do things on chain, but they want to do it in a meaningful way, right? And so, I mean, the numbers are staggering, right? Say we have 19,000 people that's come to the platform and done something in some capacity. It's really amazing to see.
Yeah, but because for example, you can run a YouTube channel and then people just have to view a video, right? That's all they have to do. But what you guys are building is actually something that you actually have to perform an activity, and some of these activities can be quite challenging for some people, right? You have to jump over a hurdle or meet certain criteria to do it, and so
that's what I was saying, Nick. When a couple people were helping us early on, and they would say, "Oh, we need to launch right now. We need to go fast." What we built relies on people to interact on chain. There's no way to microwave that. You can't microwave it, because if you build something fast and you try to put it out there, there's no justification or incentive for people to do that unless the thing that I want to accomplish, it helps me get there faster, or the thing that I want to do, I can transact in this trustless way with two people that fully protects my funds, but also it protects my credibility, right? And so that's why I say, like, me and Hodl, nights and weekends for a year, we were just saying, well, what if you send someone a request, and then Hodl would come up with all these edge cases and scenarios, like, what if you sent someone a request for a gig and they accepted, but they didn't complete the work, and that person says, well, I'm going to send you 0 funds. In the smart contract, we've designed this whole like jury and counsel. You can't see it on the platform today. We don't have it fully baked out, but it's fully baked out process and fully baked out in the contract.
Wow.
And these are the things other people try to microwave, Nick. And you have to spend time to get that right, because if you get it wrong, people will never use it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's and then another analogy with influencers, right? You can actually get a real following of real people who are actually supporting you and like what you're talking about, or you can buy a lot of fake accounts and boost your image or your following, and until it gets revealed and you drop like 50% and people stop following you again.
That's right.
Very true. Very true. It happens all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
I tell Zero too. It's like there's a hurdle too, because it's not like you're just kind of onboarding. These people also have to get their Leather wallet. They have to get an X1st wallet. So it's that's the pool of people is not anybody with a computer. It's someone with a Leather or X1st wallet, or we have to convince them to get one of those wallets.
And to be honest, like, I'm doing this. I love what you guys are building. I'm pretty much a native in the crypto ecosystem, but the amount of time that they actually spend, doing all these things, the actual things is limited, right? Because I also have my full-time job. I'm doing this, and you have to organize all kinds of stuff. So like what you say, like the hurdle can also simply be time, energy that you have left to sort of dive into these things or return to the platform. So I think also the thing that you just mentioned about the notifications to keep you returning to the platform and make you notice that things are happening on the platform and that something positive is actually happening with what you're doing there and what other people are doing there is very powerful, right? Because that makes you aware of the value added and that that things are happening and that you want to return there.
So I listen to a lot of startup podcasts. The one that sticks out in my mind is I was listening to 20 VC with Harry Stebbs, and he had Duolingo on. Duolingo has had explosive growth.
Oh yeah. I know some addicts.
People love it. The number one thing that they love about Duolingo is the tracker, the activity tracker. Have you logged in today and have you done a lesson? That to me stands out in my mind because Nova kind of helps you with that. Nova gives you all of these automations in Discord and Telegram, and it's like, hey, there was a new opportunity posted. Are you jumping on this? Okay, maybe you don't have time. Life is crazy, or you got some parents, or your wife, or husband, or kids, or blah 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 blah. But then you're like, I'll do it later. You see another notification coming in. You're like, you know what? I better at least submit my bid so I could get a chance to win Riders bounty that put up 250 stacks. I mean, I even participate in some bounties sometimes too, because I'm like, I'd love to win some Leo, or I'd love to win some stacks. Just a small token of that appreciation, that goes a long way. And some people, they take this very serious, Nick. They treat this as like a side hustle, which in meaningful ways, I would love for us to get to the point where people around the globe say, you need to be using Zero Authority if you want new opportunities. If you want to build your profile, you want to build credibility and reputation on Web3, you need to use Zero Authority DAO.
But apart from that, and I mean, those were very powerful reasons to get started. And I'm also talking to myself. But but the other thing is, a lot of people are always saying, like, you have to earn crypto, right? If you really want to get somewhere in the future, but also within the space, you have to get jobs and start earning crypto, right? Not just saving in crypto and buying crypto with fiat, but actually earning it, doing things. So you created a place that's very easy to use once you get the hang of it, which actually rewards you in crypto, which will probably, very likely, this is not financial advice, increase over time tremendously. While also increasing your reputation, while retaining your pseudonymity, if you want pseudonymity, and your sovereignty. What's there not to like? I mean, how very powerful is that ID? It's like, extremely, extremely powerful.
I think so too. And just to wrap up things, because I know we're at the end. If you believe in this new industry, crypto, Bitcoin, Web3, we always encourage everyone, hold a little bit of Bitcoin. If you can spare $10, go on Coinbase, go on Kraken, go on Robinhood, just buy a little bit. Once you get more comfortable, set up a wallet. You can have Coinbase wallet, you can have Leather wallet, Xverse wallet. These are like the most trusted wallets in the world. I mean, even Phantom and MetaMask, they're the most trusted and they're most secure in the world. Keep going deeper into Web3. I would also encourage you, like you said, so that was something big for me. That's how I finally felt that I was baptized in Web3, because I had done some work for Patrick Stanley in the early days of Stacks, and he paid people in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever earned any Bitcoin. And when you do these things and people can see that you've done a gig with someone, or you won a bounty,
Or even
actually,
someone of that reputation, right?
Right. That means something, and that means that you are fully native in this new world. Zero Authority DAO unlocks community and creator economies. Thank you, Hattie. We love Hattie. He's our community strategist, our protocol strategist, and our manager. And you met Hattie. He just, with his buttery smooth voice, he just ties a bow on everything.
I think he has a great show, right? The Blank Page. I love watching.
I love the Blank Page. And for me, the team, I'm always talking to Huddle because we just talk all the time, but I'll ping Hattie when I need, when I need to think far future. I'll say, Hattie, we need to do this thing. And he'll, so the bow and arrow in the name of Zero Authority, he said, well, what if we have something to represent the tribe? And I said, well, tell me more. And he's like, well, every community or place, you need to have some kind of symbolism that people can rally around or get behind. It never even occurred to me that we even needed anything, right? He kind of, when he talks through things, it reminds me of Steve Jobs, where he says, you don't know what you need until I tell you what you need. Hattie is that glue that brings it all together. And then obviously Gizlo and Haas and Shashil and
because how big is sort of your team? Like how many people does that consist of?
So we are, I want to say, 6 people now.
Okay.
So it's a small team. I think we're at the max that we're ever probably going to have, unless we get to the point where we're going to do some funding. But and all of our information here. Let me share this screen. All of our information, if you ever go to our Linktree Zero Authority, we have all of that information here. You can read about our vision, our values. You can read on who's the core team. So this is our core team of people. And let me share the docs. So these are our docs. If you ever wanted to read through our vision, values, who's on the team, how to contribute, the roadmap. The roadmap is a little old now, but if you ever want to see what updates we're making, we just went live with retroactive gigs and the price data, right? So if you ever need to know that, or if you're in D grants and you need to know how do I get paid, you're going to have to come in and create a profile, and then the foundation will be able to reward you. But the team is small, right? Like I said, we're a group of misfits that love Bitcoin. We love Stacks, and we just come together. We work globally, right? We're all across the globe, and we just work together. It's really crazy. I think, Nick, I think these guys are crazy that they they keep working with me week over week. We're not this pay team. We don't have a lot of money. Me and Huddle pay everything out of pocket. We just do this because we believe in Stacks. We believe in Bitcoin L2s. We believe now in the base network. We're going to be expanding. We just have so much fun and purpose behind this. Bitcoin honestly has given me purpose. And obviously I have a family with kids, and that gives me a lot of purpose. And the work that I do on my day job, that gives me purpose. But we just feel like this is so much bigger than us, to be honest. And we're just going to, if you ever watch a movie, I was watching the stand-up comedy before. This one guy, I can't remember his name, but he said, you guys are watching me on this YouTube on this Netflix special, and I'm honored and I'm privileged. But honestly, if this was a movie, I would be the 5-minute clip in the middle of the movie where this guy and this girl are on a date and they're sitting in the nosebleeds and they pan to me and there's no voice, it's just like me laughing, and then the movie pans to the rest of the show. And I thought that was such a great metaphor for how we think about Web3. The fabric of Web3 is this vibrant thing that's moving and dancing and shifting. And if we could be one tiny dot on that fabric of time, space, and then as people find us value, and this is the thing, Nick, we have to be valuable to you or to whoever uses the platform, because no one has given us $1 million to go build this thing, right? So
they should.
Or Huddle, did they give you money and you didn't tell me?
Oh man, I wish they gave me, 1 million peanut coin is what they gave me.
Yeah, they gave you some Hey, one day that might be valuable.
Yeah, definitely. No,
and so we have to build something that is valuable, because one, we put our own money into this, and then two, if it's not valuable, no one's going to use it, because no one is telling someone that they have to use this thing, because we're not backed by anything, right? We're just backed by the human capital who sees value in the things that we can provide for solutions. So when people see us, we're not some big team of people who are full-time. We also have day jobs. We also have families. We have loved ones that we're taking care of. So just keep that in mind, that we just do this because we believe in Web3. We believe in Bitcoin. We believe that the future is bright. We're not cynical about the future. We believe that there are brighter days ahead.
But I think that's sort of that sense of purpose, and the sense of that there's something bigger that you can contribute to. That's something that you hear a lot within crypto and Web3. I think that's also why we often come across as zealots or zealots and sort of like evangelists, because people often compare Bitcoin and crypto to sort of like a religion or a cult, which I can understand. From the outside, we sort of look like crazy people that are at every party and every opportunity we start talking about Bitcoin and crypto and how it's gonna save the world and make everything better. But that sense of purpose is driving people to commit their time, their free time, next to their job, to build all these things, and to inspire people and to improve the world. So I can definitely I can feel that.
Yeah. If the go ahead, Huddle. If you, I'll say.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just that's definitely kind of the vibe. That's what keeps us going. It's and two, you just kind of think it's like, man, if we're able to make an impact, this is just raw demand of people wanting to use this, and if we can kind of make the future a little bit more like how we want it, heck, that's worth it. It's worth all the nights. It's worth all the weekends. It's worth it. And we kind of, I think me and Zero, we really believe what we're building will eventually have its time in the limelight. And so we just stick around and keep building, keep doing stuff. It's like we'll make good progress. We'll make a good impact. And
I think it's kind of like, I think also when you're sort of an artist and you make a work of art, you're sort of happy that all the attention goes to the work of art or the product that you finished, right? You don't personally want the limelight. You just want sort of 040 DAO to shine, right? The thing that you put all your effort in.
That's right.
So that's you're hitting on a point, because we say the future of Zero Authority is that you don't even know we exist.
Yeah.
The future is just us becoming the reputation file layer of Web3, kind of like how Chainlink is the Oracle layer.
Yeah.
We would be the reputation layer of Web3, and people just know this thing is trusted. It works. It's never been down. It never takes any days off, and it gives us, which solves a critical problem in this space. And that's how we
sounds a lot like Bitcoin.
Successful. What was that?
Sounds a lot like Bitcoin.
Yep, that's right. That's one reason why I'm pseudonymous. I I admire Satoshi.
Oh yeah, yeah, we all do. And I think it's also a little bit like you're playing with Lego, right? You know, all these sort of blockchains and sort of the modular aspect of crypto and what you're building. It's sort of like you're playing with Lego blocks and how these sort of fit together, and you know, building something really cool with
you know, that's the unwritten story of Web3. I think before smart contracts, this is my own personal experience or story, so people may have a different opinion. I feel before the Lego blocks of like DeFi Summer 2020 happened, there was more emphasis on, well, smart contracts will just be Lego blocks that you can build on top, right? And then we kind of saw the curves and the yearn come about, where I just built on top of what you're building on. Now, what we've seen is we all have this idea and this instinct that there's so much more to this that's completely untapped. Then we start thinking about, so like, for example, we want to launch something kind of like events later. And what if you by RSVP? So if you want someone to come to Bitcoin Live in person and you only have 20 slots, why not let people RSVP by sending you STX in the contract, and then you get the yield?
Sounds good.
You get the yield behind that, then they attend and they get their STX back.
Oh yeah, I see that's a good one. Interesting.
There are so many things like that we've thought about that can unlock the yield in meaningful ways that people have never done before.
Yeah, and it would be beneficial to everybody involved, you know, without sort of extracting.
Yeah, you're not extracting, and not only that, once we have this structured data and reputation badges, think of what you can build on top of that, right? So you can do something where you take BitFlow and you take Zero Authority and Luna Crush, and now you have DeFi with reputation fi with social intelligence. What, I don't even know what you can do with that, but you can do something with it.
Yeah.
You can do something with it. So we're getting closer to the Ubers and the Airbnbs. We just haven't got there yet.
Yeah. Wow.
It's so much, you know, the ability to identify signal and all of that is what really gets me interested. Is like, you can engage. That's what I really love about bounties, is you can engage with people that are your diehard people, that are, you can engage with people that are, this is their little niche of skills, are their little niche of the internet. And there's so many people, they have these accounts on socials and whatnot, and they do a great job with them, but they don't really have any way to show it off or to kind of really cook on these different ideas. And it's like, you know, I think there's something there where you can really engage your fan base. You can have people give testimonials, give reviews, and all of this, and you get something way more valuable in return for what you get out of your money.
And I imagine you guys are also big Star Wars fans, right?
Love it.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
because the bounty hunter was the coolest person.
That's where our logo comes from. The bounty hunter.
The bounty logo. Yeah. Don't tell Disney, but that's where it came from.
Yeah, Disney
people.
Yeah, Disney. We're just joking. Mandalorians. We don't even know what that is.
By the way, I was also a huge StarCraft fan, so was nice to hear. Which one did you play? I was always Zerg.
So I'm not a huge StarCraft fan, admittedly. I just played the game to do something to pass the time, because we were always there, and we had. I was in an IT club and ran it for a year, and we just had these parties with the network guys. So I honestly, it was the old version. The new version, I haven't even played it yet. So,
well, the teams are still Proton, Zerg, and Terran. So the humans.
I was the humans. I played
the Terran.
Yeah, are the Zerg the bugs?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They can go on the ground and those kind of. The
Hey,
nasty
we never got to touch on UAPs at the end here too, but you know,
I think you two need to come back, and maybe we should get Hedy on too.
yes,
And,
Yeah,
I would love
Eddie's a
that.
great time to have on.
Yeah, but I
would
had a
love
lot of fun, and this conversation, evolved the way it evolved, and I learned a ton, and I guess I should get more involved with 040 now.
Well, no, and I had asked you if you had a profile just to pull up the data to show you what you can start to create
I would
later.
have to look it up.
But I mean, it would also make sense if people want to tip you later for, hey, I enjoyed that show. Here's one STX for Bitcoin Live with Zero Authority,
Or
That-
1,000.
or what?
No, one is fine.
Oh, he said 1,000 STX. Yeah, okay.
Yes. Why not go for 10,000?
Yeah, that's okay too.
Well, so once we have like community pages up, I think people will do that. Like you'll use your Zero Authority page and create a community page just for you or for your organization, and people can contribute like that. And so I think that will be really cool to see later on, Nick. And then there's other integrations we'd love to do. Probably the integrations that make the most sense is like where people spend their time, whether that's LinkedIn, GitHub, X to start, and then bring all that data to Nova, and then probably like spin up like something with AI capabilities. Maybe that might be a MCP server or linking the data with Lunar Crush, but there's something there that's completely untapped that no one's doing right now.
Well, it sort of reminds me of the network states, right?
Yeah, it does. We love that book, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great book. Balaji is, I love his interviews also.
Yeah,
and but basically you allow people not only to talk the talk, but actually walk the walk, right? To actually live a decentralized lifestyle, and becomes, basically what you're building is like the infrastructure for a network state.
Yeah, we early on too, that kind of was the whole premise of the pseudonymous economy. Balaji, his talk, he used to do the Blockstack talks before the mainnet, and that was one of the inklings. And I still go back to that interview where he talks about 3 different states where you have your real ID, then you have your completely pseudonymous ID, and then you're somewhere in between. And I think we're getting there finally, where you can live as all 3, or you can be that person, whoever you want to be, which is that's really cool.
And people should have the power to sort of manage their own data, right? What they want to reveal and what they don't want to reveal. And I think sort of you guys are building sort of the infrastructure to make that possible.
I've seen people try to create like those data layers where you can try to do that, but to me it makes sense. And this is kind of like along the topics of identity and BNS. Yeah. We don't market ourselves as an identity layer. Mm-hmm. We market ourselves as a reputation layer, and what reputation means is that network of verified actions on chain, off chain.
Yeah.
When you start talking about identity, it's really this philosophical debate about like, well, what does identity mean? And you have a government identity, but does that really identify the person who you are? So we don't even get into that debate, and we don't go there because it's really, really a topic that deserves like decades of thinking about it. And so we just wanted to make something that's really easy to identify. I do these things on chain. I do these things off chain. Mm-hmm. That builds credibility. That builds trust in the trustless world. That gives me a reputation score, on chain score. And then from there, you use that however you see fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Well, thanks so much for the opportunity to come on today. I really appreciate that. And go give us a follow on Zero Authority on the X page, and create a profile on zeroauthoritydao.com. Please, that's how you can support us right now.
Yeah. And I want to thank both of you for taking the time and having this interview. And we're definitely going to do a follow-up with Hedy. Like I said, this is sort of the start of a new interview series that I want to do. and I was thinking about like, how am I gonna do this? And I just was like, okay, I'll just jump into it. But you guys are actually the first people from all the people that we know, that we actually know, like that we hang out with, like on the
that we actually like.
So people that I know for a long time, but I haven't really had the time to interview. So you were at the top of that list of people. Eddie's also on there, of course, and Steve and many other people. But
well, Nick, fourth time is a charm. We've been trying to do this for a while now.
Yeah, but it was worth it. I loved it.
Yeah, we had a great time.
I want to thank you, Nick. Appreciate you and everybody that was watching. I know Diego was on earlier. Check out BitFlow. Check out The Organized, and really appreciate everything you do, Nick. I wanted to say one thing. I know I joke around about price and everything. I don't care. I just hold spot. But I prayers up to anybody that had a bunch of leverage. I imagine there's some people out there that are hurting bad today. So just prayers up to those people. Know there's another day beyond this one. So thank you. Does that?
Yeah. Just focus on the future. But yeah, we first of all, this is often educational and infotainment content, of course. But we do talk about price, but we always advise not to do leverage. Like leverage is, oh my god, I wouldn't be able to sleep if I had leverage.
Yeah, and Hero said, "What's up, Hero Gamer?" He said, "We need that bird logo much bigger behind Zero."
True.
So I'll try to make it huge behind me next time.
Thank you everybody for listening. Also thank you to our sponsors and partners, Quantum Economics and Quantum Expeditions and Shieldfolio, and of course our friends at The Organized Media. Steve.
Yes.
And with that,
Steve, we love you, peace, love. We love you, Hattie. We love you, Hero Gamer. Crypto Dude, we love you. I see is it Muina?
Yeah.
NB, love you. And Diego's my guy. He has one of the best hearts in stacks, Bitcoin, Web3. I mean, we started our NFT journey at the same time. He was doing backpacks for kids in Miami-Dade County, and all of the funds that he created for City Packs went to buy school supplies.
Oh, cool.
So he has always had a big heart, and he's one of those people in DeFi. I would send all my money to BitFlow because I know the kind of guy he is, that he would build with security first, and he always has. So huge shout out to what BitFlow has built in the ecosystem and the work that they continue to push behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, on that note, I think people in crypto should also become more aware, and also people outside of crypto become more aware of the charity that's being done through crypto, right? I mean, we should sometimes also blow our own horn.
I think so.
Yeah.
Cool. So, thank you guys, and you guys have a good one.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Crypto Knots, what's up?
Have a good rest of the weekend.
I think the NFT is launching, the game or NFTs are launching soon. So check it out. It's awesome.
Yeah, and what goes down must come up, so Bitcoin will
hang in there, prayers up, and there are better days ahead. I'm sorry if you lost some money recently, but better days are ahead.
Still October.
It's still October. Still got time. Don't panic sell everything, guys.
Don't lose any sleep.
Well, thank you so much, Nick, and we'll come back for round two.